Alright, so we come up with f prime of x equal to 5. Now, if you don't know exactly what we just did, you might be scratching your head. What exactly does this represent? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm about to clear that up. This right here, okay, is it's like finding the slope of the line on a curve. And let me just draw a picture and clear all this up for you. Or at least try to attempt to clear this up. Okay, so this is how my picture is going to go. I'm going to draw a y-axis, and then I'll draw an x-axis, and then let's use a different color here for our curve. So let's say that we have some graph that does this, okay? And I'm going to pick a point. We'll pick a point right here, and we're going to pick another point right here. And let's say that, for example, I wanted to draw a line, so I draw a line through that passes through both these points here, okay? So because I'm not going to be able to draw a straight line, I'm going to attempt to draw a straight line. Okay, we have a straight line here that passes through 2 points on our curve. And at this point in your math career, you should remember how to find the slope of a line. Well, if we're given 2 points, okay, then we should be able to find the slope of this line. Given 2 points on the line, we can find the slope. Remember, it's m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x of 1, right, where x1 and y1 is a point and y2 and x2 is a point. Well, what happens if I were to fix this point right here and take this dot and start moving it? Okay, if I take the dot and then I start moving it and we draw a new line, and then I move it down, we draw another new line, and I move it down even closer, and then we draw another new line that passes through both of those points, and then I get closer and closer, and we continue to do this, and I get closer and closer and closer and closer. In other words, this dot here is approaching this dot. Well, as I get closer and closer, in other words, as I let delta x approach 0, what happens is we end up getting a new tangent line, and I'm just kind of guesstimate this is about like that right there. Ooh, that doesn't look good. But anyway, this line right here is known as the tangent line. As we get closer and closer and closer, as delta x approaches 0, this thing is approaching what's called the tangent line right here. It becomes the tangent line. But this line is known as, we have a name for this. This is the secant line. Okay? This line here is the tangent line. And to find the slope of the tangent line, we're going to need to find f prime of x, because f prime of x is going to give us the slope of this line right here. Alright, if I were to let this be x and this right here is y, in other words, the coordinates for this point is going to be x comma f of x. Right, that's going to be the coordinates. In other words, it's like x of 1, y of 1, let's say. This line, its coordinates, now we're going to go over some distance, and the distance we're going to go over is delta x. So this point, this is x plus delta x. In other words, we start at x and we go over, let's say, 10 units. So this would be x plus 10, right? Whatever x is right here, whatever this number is.